Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, you're welcome. My name is Sisi Yemmie. I'm a lifestyle blogger and I live in Lagos, Nigeria. If you are not new here, you already know who I am. Today I'm going to be doing another Q&A. This is my C-section Q&A. I asked on Instagram and I got a lot of comments and the questions were over 50 questions. I don't know how I'm going to answer all of them, but I'm going to try and do so very, very quickly. So let's go through the questions. Just in case you're new here and you don't have any background information about me, I've had 2 C-sections. The recent one was about 2 months ago. My baby is almost 3 months old. She's not yet 3 months old. She's going to be 3 months old at the end of the month, so still 2 months old. And I am about 2 months post C-section, and this is my second one, like I said. So I'm going to be answering the question. The first question says, I think a lot of women are ashamed to say they had a C-section. Please enlighten us. I think being ashamed comes from misinformation and just lack of awareness and just cultural stuff. I know that a lot of people, a lot of women actually are ashamed. I noticed that with some of my friends, when I asked them, oh, how was their delivery, they refused to say what it was, and me, I don't probe. But I noticed that the people that refuse to talk are especially people that had C-sections. And I'm like, I don't know why there's this culture of silence around it. I remember when I was trying to do my research about C-sections in Nigeria, and I checked on YouTube, nobody they talk about C-section for Nigeria. Like, it's almost like it did not exist or nobody has done it. But trust me, I'm sure in a lot of families, there's one person that's had a C-section, but they like to conceal it, cover it, make it look like it's a disease or something bad, sha. You don't want people to hear about it. I remember after my first C-section, someone made a comment, and this was someone that was close to me, and the comment had to do with, oh, because I had a C-section, when other people come, I should not tell them how I gave birth to the baby. I'm like, what? Like, why should I not tell them how I had the baby? And I'm like, am I supposed to be ashamed? You're not supposed to be ashamed. There are different ways babies can come. You can have them vaginally or through C-sections. You have to thank God that there is medical intervention for you to be able to do that. So there should be no shame. Hi Sisi, please, how long did it take you to heal or get back on your feet after a C-section? So with my first C-section, it took like weeks. It was horrible. I remember during the naming ceremony for my first baby, I could not walk. I was crouching like this. I came out briefly for the naming ceremony and went back to the room. But with this one, on my second day post-op, I was already walking around, taking my bath by myself. The recovery was really, really good. And I don't know if that has to do with the hospital, the way they did the surgery, or just because, you know, I'm an ogbologbo in the business. Maybe because it was my second time, I don't know. But this time recovery was so much better. You guys even saw it. But the thing is, even my pregnancy this time and the recovery for C-section was different and so much more better. Maybe because I was expecting it this time. I knew what I was expecting, so I wasn't worried and I was prepared. Hi, does the scar show in a bikini? I don't know if it shows in a bikini because I've not tried on a bikini, but it is called a bikini scar, so I guess it's on the same line with where the bikini would be. So if you're wearing a pant, the pant covers it, and I guess if you're wearing bikinis, it's going to cover it. Is it true that women who have had C-sections cannot participate in some certain type of exercises? Well, I feel immediately after having a C-section, you're not supposed to do strenuous activity. The heaviest thing you're supposed to carry is your baby, which I didn't even really carry my baby because that was a lot of strain on me. So you're not supposed to do a lot of exercise. But after you've recovered, I'm sure there are some exercises you can do. There's so many people I follow on Instagram that they started exercising after their C-section, like started exercising. I don't know the routine. Maybe there's some types of exercises they can do, but definitely you can start exercising after your C-section. You give yourself time to heal, sha. This question says, did you have spinal or general anesthesia? If done properly, what's the approximate healing time? I think I've talked about the healing time. For me, the proper healing time was about 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, I was still feeling pain and everything, but since then, I've not been feeling pain. That part actually feels very numb to me. And it says, did you have spinal or general anesthesia? I think it was spinal I had, because they had to put it in my spine. I couldn't film that part because I was still a bit scared, but they have to put a needle in my spine, and I had to hold a pillow crouching like this so that the thing will enter well. So they did that, and it numbed me from my waist down. I could not feel my legs. I could not carry my legs. I could only lift my legs, I think, maybe 7 hours later. I can't remember how long it took, Sha, but it wasn't that long before I started feeling my legs again, but that was way after the operation. I had a C-section and it gets itchy occasionally. I want to know if you've had such experiences or if it's just me. Yeah, with my first C-section, I used to have itching a bit there once in a while. When I was pregnant, it was really bad. Maybe because that part was stretching, I was itching like crazy. But now, right now, I'm not itchy, so maybe later. But right now, there are no itches. Would you avoid having a C-section if you could? Nobody, I don't think there's anybody that really wants to go through surgery. So if I could, I wouldn't, but I didn't really have a lot of options, so I opted for it. Another question, how long did you spend in the hospital? So I spent a maximum of 3 nights in the hospital. So the first night was just me settling in, and then I had the C-section very early in the morning, I think about 8 o'clock in the morning, and then spent that other night, the next night, and by the 3rd day, I was on my way to my house so fast. Even when I was scared, because after the C-section, they're like, by tomorrow morning, you're going to take your bath yourself, you're going to do this yourself. I'm like, what? You people want to kill me. You want my belly to tear, but no, nothing of such happened. So yeah, I only spent 3 nights in the hospital. This question says, what is recovery like? Do you have to fart before you eat? Yes, they actually told me that I needed to fart before I start eating, and I think I did before I started eating, yeah. And recovery, it wasn't so bad. The first few days were rough. I think why they say you have to fart before you eat is they need to make sure that your intestines and your digestive system is working very well before you eat something heavy. I had a meal, I think, the next day, and I had pap. And then the day before I left the hospital, I was already eating Vbac. So you have to fart first, just so they make sure that everything is going on fine in your belly. This question says, is it really painful, and were you aware of what was happening when you were giving birth? I was very aware. I was awake. I was giving just spinal, so my eye was shining through the process. Even though at some point I started feeling a bit sleepy, but my eyes were shining throughout the process. And after the procedure, of course, I slept and slept because they were giving me painkillers that just made me, I remember one time I was trying to fight it, just made me sleep. I just slept off like that, but I was aware. While it was happening, it was not painful. You cannot feel anything. When they gave me the spinal, they had to put something on my legs, use something to tap me, and I couldn't feel it. I was like, are you tapping something? They lifted me. They lifted me from where I was laying down, and I did not feel it. They were lifting my legs. I'm like, what is that? Is that a leg? Oh, it's mine. So you're not going to feel anything. I had my baby through C-section in October. My baby is 7 months old now. I haven't seen my period. Is it normal? Well, I don't know. You have to ask your doctor, because for me, 6 weeks after surgery, I started period. I thought they said if you are doing exclusive breastfeeding, you're not going to get your period. That's a lie. My period started immediately. So maybe because you are breastfeeding, you've not seen your period. It's different for different women. I asked that question on my Instagram, and there were so many replies. Some people were like 6 weeks after delivery, period came, and some people were like 1 year, 2 years, they did not see period. So It's different for different women, but I don't think you should be worried. This question says, did you prefer having a scheduled C-section rather than trying for a VBAC? This is something that I pondered on so many times. I even did a video because I was so scared when I did that video where I was wearing that yellow dress, talking about, oh, will I have another C-section? I was afraid. And at that moment, I was already contemplating getting pregnant for the second time. So that was what was holding me back. Like, what am I going to do? So I finally figured out I would like to just have another C-section because I don't want the stress of trying and it doesn't work out and I have to go through the process I went through the first time. It was horrible the first time and I tried to do everything to avoid that situation. So I prefer having a scheduled C-section than an emergency C-section. The question says, is the same scar cut repeatedly? Is there a maximum number of births you can have? Okay, yes, I think they cut me in the same place, and this time, by the time I don't think they use stitch for me. I think they use like glue because it's a bit smooth. I can't show you, but it's quite smooth. It just feels like they gummed my belly together. No, I didn't really feel any, what's it called, stitches. And is there a maximum number of kids? In those days, they said maximum is it 3 children, but I think that's because they cut you like this vertically. That's why you can't have more than 2 or 3 kids. But these days where they do the the bikini cut, you can have as many children as possible with the help of your doctor. So you have to discuss that one with your doctor, because my doctor was already telling me, see you next year. I'm like, see you next year for what? See, I don't want to see you next year. The same question, is it true that C-section can only be done 3 times? No, you can do it multiple times. I know someone that has had 4 or 5 children C-section. There are some pages I follow because you have to do your research, like I said. There are some pages I follow. There are some people, they are on their 8th C-section. 8! No, they tire. 8! But you can have as many children as you want. Could you take care of your baby immediately after, or how long did it take? Yeah, I could. Well, I couldn't really take care of her immediately because I was drowsy. I was not breastfeeding. I was tired, sleeping. So the nurses were taking care of her. They fed her. They fed her formula. They gave her a bath. They changed her. They did everything basically. And my mom was there as well. So she helped. I didn't really do much until the second day when I had to start trying to breastfeed. So yeah, they took care of her for me, and I really liked the service in that hospital because that care was really good. That was the kind of support I needed. This question says, what are the risks involved in having a C-section birth? There are so many risks involved, just like a vaginal birth. With a C-section, something could happen, mistake, and the person can die, but I've not heard of that lately. There are not so many cases of people dying during C-section, except you do it in a hospital where they don't know what they are doing. But if they do it in a normal hospital, then you'll be fine. I remember when I was doing my, antenatal, and the doctor looked at me and he was like, why are you hesitating? Like, what is your biggest fear with this C-section? I'm like, well, I'm scared that I could die. And he's like, a C-section is the simplest surgery they can do. That he can do it with his eyes closed. He can do it with his leg up. He was just telling me that it's just a very basic operation. I should not think about it like, oh my gosh. And me, I was very scared because I was already hallucinating. But no, the way he explained it to me is like, this thing is very simple. We do like 20 in a day. And truly, the day I was having my C-section, they were having multiples, like after me, next, somebody else, after that, next, somebody else. So they do it all the time if it's an experienced hospital. Another question is, was it possible to have a Vbac, vaginal birth after C-section in your case? It might have been possible. I did not check. I was not interested in a Vbac. I wanted to at some point, but after a while I'm like, okay, there are 2 ways babies can come, through the C-section and vaginally. Since I started with C-section, then let me continue with C-section. There's no point tearing here and tearing there. You get what I mean? So I chose the C-section option. Do you think the tummy goes back to almost the same original size in CS as that of vaginal delivery, or is it different? The thing is, let me tell you, your belly can go back flat. I've seen, well, Oyibo YouTubers that their belly goes back just like that after a C-section. Even me, it took me about, I think it was in 2017, I started getting myself, and I think that was when my son turned maybe 2.5. That's when I started really losing weight properly. And if you guys notice, my belly was flat at some point, like not flat, but if I suck the belly, like it would go back. So you couldn't tell that I had a big belly. How was your healing process comparing Tito and Tiara's birth? Like I said, Tito's own was an emergency C-section. I did not prepare for it. I was just rushed into the theater. I thought I was gonna die, you know. I'm just grateful that I'm here. But this one, I planned for it. I dressed up, carried my boxes, went by myself to the hospital, chose the hospital. Like I was 100% in control of everything I was doing this time. So my mindset was better. Everything was better. So yeah, I prefer this one. Tiara's birth compared to Tito's birth. It says, is it bad to go in for voluntary C-section even from the first birth? I don't know why you want to go for voluntary one from the first one. I don't even think the doctors are going to agree. They're going to maybe make you try first. Just try first. If you know what, you can do C-section, but I don't think they even really advise it a lot. And I'm sure if I was abroad, they would have encouraged me to do a Vbac, because Vbacs are really popular these days, and I watch a lot of videos and it's always like, hallelujah, I finally got the labor that I wanted, and I did a Vbac. But for me, I was not willing to do that. So for a second time you can opt for it, but for the first time I feel you should just try, because I heard that with vaginal births the recovery is quicker and all of that. So why would you want to do a C-section first? How was the recovery second time around? I'm afraid, especially because of the needle. Yeah, because when I was going in the second time, the first time I didn't really notice what was happening to me because it was an emergency. But this time I was aware, like my eyes were shining, everything they were doing, I was writing it down. If you guys want a detailed how I did my C-section, I can do a story time for that one. But the needle, it is very, very scary. But what is it anesthesiologist? I don't know what they call it. The person that puts the spinal, she was very nice, and she was just explaining to me. She'll be like, this is the needle, it is going in now. You are going to feel a sharp thing, and I'll feel something sharp. She'll tell me, okay, now it will feel like somebody poured warm water down your back. I'll feel it. So she was explaining every process to me, and I think because of that explanation, it made the whole process easier for me. Like, carry me along, let me know what's going on. The first time when I was having Tito, any question I asked, they didn't want to answer. They almost slapped me, because they're like, you asked too many questions. But this one, every question they will answer, and they will explain what they're going to do to you, which is good. Don't be scared of the needle, it's not that bad. And considering it's coming from me that I'm always scared of pain, it is not that bad. Was it possible to take a bath after your C-section? If no, how long did it take before you could take a proper bath? So with Tito's own, I couldn't take a bath. Someone had to be bathing me for a few days. But with this one, the next morning, the nurse came, boom, 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 and they make you take your bath like 5 in the morning. I'm like, why? They knocked and they're like, it's time for you to bath. I'm like, bath? I had my surgery yesterday. In case the doctor did not tell you, like in case you are just resuming. She's like, no, you are going to take your bath. And I walked by myself. See, I cried. Let me not even lie. I cried on my way to the bathroom because it was painful. But she was like, if you don't walk, if you don't take your bath, your recovery is going to be more difficult. So that was the toughest part of doing that C-section, the 2 days after. And I took my walk to the bathroom, sat on a stool. She gave me the sponge, and I was just washing myself as best as I could. So yeah, I took my bath immediately, which was like the next day. What is the recommended time between 2 C-sections? Personally, I would advise 2 years. And I think that's what a lot of doctors would advise. But there are some people that do 2 C-sections in 1 year. So I'm not a medical personnel. You can always do your research for that one. This question says, is the scar visible and does it bother you? I'm considering C-section when it's time. The scar does not bother me, and I was having this conversation with someone. She was worried because of, after you have a baby, your belly, for some people it no longer looks the same, it's rough, it's black, and then if you have a C-section, there's a scar. So she was worried about that, and I'm like, well, me, I'm only worried about the size. I don't even get to see my belly most times anyway, so I don't care about what it looks like. I only care about the size. So it doesn't, the scar does not bother me, and it is not so visible. Like, you have to really be looking for it on my belly to see it, because it is just on the bikini line, and the bikini line is where you have like your natural folds anyway, so people would think is one of your folds unless you have one of those bellies that are like smooth and everything. But I don't have that kind of belly, so I don't have that problem. If I opt for C-section, how early can the baby be delivered? Let me tell you guys, from the moment they put that spinal to the moment the baby came out, I would say 7-8 minutes. It was so fast. It was like, baby is out. It's the stitching back that takes time, not the bringing out, because they have to do it very fast so that the baby comes out alive. So it was very, very fast. When they told me it was going to be fast, I'm like, the memories I have of my first C-section are just absolutely horrible. This question says, when did you start drinking cold water or eating swallow? Like I said, I started eating the next day. I started with pap. I started with warm water, tea, then pap, then eba. Like, they just give me that eba, and considering I only spent like 3 days in the hospital, that was pretty fast for me to be eating eba, but I did, and I'm fine. I was even scared that, when I tried to go to the toilet, it would be difficult and I'll be in pains, but nothing. Everything just came out like it was so easy. When did I start drinking cold water? To be honest, I was drinking cold water since when I was pregnant. After I had the baby, I did not even consider anything. I've been drinking cold water. Maybe that's why the belly never gone back, but I have been drinking cold water. So this question says, at what point did you decide to have a C-section? I decided to have a C-section just at the point where it was driving me crazy, just thinking about Vbac. And I wanted a Vbac so bad because there were so many people saying, you must have a Vbac, you must get a Vbac. And people were just putting testimonies online. It was that thing you had to do to redeem yourself, After having a C-section, you have to save your face the second time and have that Vbac. That's how I felt like I needed to do it. But after a while, my mind was just like, let me see, I beg, just do the one you can do. And I made a choice. I met one auntie, and I was feeling bad because I was like, yeah, I had a C-section. She was like, why is your face long? Me, I've had 4 children. All my children were C-sections, and I go there, I opt in, I register at the hospital, they give me my baby, I go back home. So the way she made it feel like, why are you stressing yourself? Like, it is just one way of giving birth to your baby. If that's the way you have been doing it, if you did it the first time, maybe you should just do it the second time. And like, nothing happened. My children, nothing happened to them. They're okay. My body is fine, and she looked very nice. So I was like, if she can do 4 C-sections, I'm sure I can do it too. So after seeing her, I wasn't worried. After going online, doing my research, seeing people that are having 8, those people don't have 2 heads. So I was like, you know what? Since I didn't have vagina the first time, let me know, like, you guys, of course I'm scared of vaginal birth because I've heard of all the things that goes on when you have your baby vaginally. So I was like, hey, they'll tear you here, C-section. They'll now do some things there again. So I was like, nah. I just chose an elective C-section because it was less stress for me, and I knew what to expect. That's the word. It was predictable for me. So I just knew what to expect. Okay, go in today, you do the C-section, baby is out on this particular date. Everything was just, but with vaginal, like, you don't know how long you're going to be in labor, pushing and all that. I didn't have it the first time, and I wasn't worried again. So I just said, you know what, let me just do it and get it over. The only thing I was scared of when it came to the C-section was, okay, am I going to have it in a hospital that is very good? I was really, really worried about that. But God solved everything for me. Like, a few weeks before I had the baby. There's someone I follow on Instagram. Her name is Yewande, and she posted that she just had like an emergency C-section, like she had to have a C-section that she did not plan for, and she praised this hospital. So I was like, what hospital is this? I went to check them out. Long story short, that's how I discovered the hospital just a few weeks before I had my baby. And I trusted her judgment so much that when she said it was a good hospital, I was like, Yewande, if she says something is good, then it's good. She's an influencer also. So I'm going to put the link to her Instagram below because that's how I discovered this hospital. It says, at how many weeks did you go for the elective C-section? I went for the C-section when I was 37 weeks. I was trying to wait till I was like 39 weeks, but doctor is like, let's just do it. The baby is already ripe and ready for delivery. So I had to do it at 37 weeks. I had a C-section and an epidural made one leg ache years after birth. Does the same apply to you? No, I've not experienced anything like that. The only thing I would say I've experienced is a bit of waist or back pain, but some people say it's C-section, some people say it's just weight gain. So maybe when I lose weight, I'll be able to tell if that is as a result of the C-section or just me getting fat. Are you allowed to wear heels after C-section? Well, yes, like it's just, you know, when you have surgery, like you allow yourself to heal. After that, you can wear heels. I wore heels to church 2 weeks ago, and by then the baby was just turning 2 months. I don't know who sent me a message because I had said in my video I wanted to pull the shoe and use it to conk myself because I don't know who sent me Shakara message. I was in pains, not on my waist, but just uncomfortable generally. So I wouldn't advise you to start wearing high heels immediately after a C-section. Just allow yourself heal. Question, how did you get rid or how will you get rid of the belly fat? I will get rid of it by watching what I eat. Right now it's been difficult to watch what I eat because I'm exclusively breastfeeding and it makes me so hungry. Like I get so hungry that I can eat a whole cow. I'm not even exaggerating. So I will watch what I eat. Maybe when the baby turns 6 months, then I can start feeding her other things. But till then, I'm on a getting fat levels. So that will help me lose the belly fat. I've been told to wear, what's it called, all this shapewear. At the moment, I don't wear shapewear. I just try to suck my belly in a lot of the time and it helps. The belly has not been protruding so much. So you guys even notice that the belly is not looking so big. So I've not been using shapewear and I have not done anything yet. I think it's just a matter of watching what I eat. I notice when I use the restroom, the belly really goes down. But if it's been a while since I used the restroom, like it just piles up and I start looking pregnant. But after I go to the toilet, it goes back down. So it depends on what you do. Exercise. I intend to start exercising. The last time what worked for me was walking. I did a lot of walking and it made me lose weight all over. I have a video on how I lost weight the first time and that video is doing so well. So go and check it out. I'm going to put the link in the description box for you to check it out. This question says, did everything go as planned? Everything went just as planned. It is only after delivery something happened that I've not even told you guys about because I didn't even know how to react to it. I went home from the hospital and I had to return my baby to the hospital and she stayed in the hospital for a couple of days without me, without her daddy, without nobody. Like we had to take her back. It was weird. So if you want to know what happened, please leave it in the comment section. Like I always make videos based on what you guys request. If you want to know what happened, then I'll tell you. That was just before her naming ceremony and we got her back the day of the naming ceremony. So yeah, that happened. That's the one that didn't go as planned. But the C-section, it went just as I planned it. Okay, this question says, did you prefer having a scheduled C-section rather than trying for a Vbac? Yes, I actually preferred it at the end of the day. Each process has its pros and cons, and I opted for a C-section and I'm happy that I opted for it because now I feel at peace. It's the decision I made for myself. I didn't let anybody make it for me because a lot of people are like, you should totally do the Vbac. You must do the Vbac. Why don't you do the Vbac? Vbac is cheaper, is this, is that. I'm like, nah, it's my life. I will get to make that decision by myself. So I made that decision and I was happy with it. Like right now, I'm happy I made that decision. How did you get over the pain? I've had 2 C-section and it wasn't so easy for me recovering from it. I don't know why, like, you've had to and it's not easy recovering. I don't know what part especially you're talking about. Is it that the scar is not healing? I don't know what the exact problem is, but after a C-section, you are supposed to not feel pain anymore, and you should hopefully have recovered by now if it's been a while. So maybe you need to go and meet a doctor so that they can check you out. Maybe there's something you need to see. But me, I don't know why. This question says, would you do a C-section again? I know if I say this one, all the people, they'll be like, God forbid, God forbid, God forbid. I remember when I was even, we had friends over and they were like, oh, for your second baby, what are you going to do? I was like, I'm going to opt for a C-section. And all of them were like, the way they were treating me was like, you don't have faith. If you have faith, if you pray, if you do this, if you do that, you won't have it. And I'm like, as my faith not carry me reach that level, make I do the one where I sabi. Let me do the C-section and get it over with. So will I have a C-section again if I have another baby? Yes. Because I have chosen this path and I hope that it continues to go well. I'm not saying that everybody should have a C-section, but this is what happened to me and this is why I chose to continue having a C-section. So yeah. I think the stigmatization has to stop because, like I said in the beginning, there's the shame that people say they face from having a C-section. There's the stigma, people treat you somehow, they talk to you anyhow, especially in this Nigeria. That's topic for another day. And this is why a lot of women die in Nigeria. They die because when the doctor says, come and do C-section, they say no, they're going for deliverance. See, if you need to do the C-section, do it and pray. It is God that gave the doctors the wisdom to be able to apply it in medicine and all these things. Imagine if we didn't have all of that. People would just be struggling. A lot of women would be dying during childbirth. So I just think at the end of the day, it is just the will of God. That's the way I look at it. It is the will of God. Yes, I will do a C-section again if I have another child. Hello, how can someone treat keloids from surgery? I don't know how you can treat keloids from surgery, so you should ask a doctor, check online. I don't know the answer to that. On a scale of 1 to 10, how painful is the recovery with minimal medication? During the surgery itself, no pain, it's like bliss. But after, I'm sure on a scale of 1 to 10 is like 20. It was really, really painful. But after a few days, you get over it. And then with good medication, they give you... Do you guys remember the day after my C-section, I edited a video and uploaded it. And everybody was like, Sisi, wait, I thought you said you had a C-section. I was that active. And that's because the medication they gave me was very good. I can't remember what the doctor said it was, but I think when he said it, I was like, oh, is this what people take and abuse? Why wouldn't they be hyper all the time? I think it was one of those drugs, but that's what they gave to me, and I was very active. I felt like I could start dancing and doing so many things. That was just the next day. But when the medicine wore out, I saw me, so they replaced it for me, and they gave me adequate medication till I was ready to leave. And then when I came home, I had tablets I was taking as well. So yeah, on the scale of 1 to 10 is like 20 for recovery, but after recovery, you're good. So hopefully I've answered most of your questions. I couldn't answer everything, but I hope these questions help you out, because I noticed the reason a lot of you guys are asking me this question is because you've either been scheduled for a C-section and you're scared, or you're scared of vaginal delivery, or you're just curious. Whatever it is, I hope I have answered it. If you're somebody that they have already told to come and book your appointment, just book it and remove your mind and just pray to God. Don't worry, it's going to go well. I've been getting a lot of messages from people telling me that, oh, they booked me next week. I'm so scared. I don't want to go. My body is shaking. Don't let it shake. Don't be scared. It's going to be well. It's going to be fine. You have to just keep a positive mindset. Like you are trying to bring forth your baby and they're going to help you to do it well. So don't be afraid. That's the first thing I'll tell you, and just enjoy the process. While I was having my C-section, the doctor was like, what music do you want to hear? We're going to play music. I'm like, huh, what music? You can? So they actually played music, and the song that was playing when the baby was coming was Yemmie by Tiaras. So I was like, oh, and I really like Tenny, because of course she started from YouTube. So it was it was so cool that they were playing music. So they were just playing music. I was like, oh, next thing, baby is out. Oh, that's so fast. And the doctors, they were really chill. They were laughing. They were gisting. Everything was just, it was just so casual. So that puts me at ease. So try and put yourself at ease. And I also noticed something. If you are not comfortable with the hospital you are at, you need to change your hospital. Because I already registered at one hospital, but I wasn't comfortable with the way the nurses were behaving. They were behaving a bit mean. Some were acting nonchalant. I'm like, I don't want what happened in 1964 to repeat itself again. Don't ask me what happened in 1964. So yeah, don't be worried, don't be scared. It's going to go fine. I just really want to encourage you. That's all. Because when I was looking for videos online, I was looking for people like me, like my color, maybe a Nigerian, to tell me it's gonna be fine. This is the hospital I use, like to give me information. And I didn't find it. So I'm happy I can be that person for you. If you have not subscribed and you watch all the way to this level, please click the subscribe button. It is free. I don't know if it is here or here or here or here. You just see one red button and say subscribe. Please subscribe and click the like button if you like this video, if you actually enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.